Hello, welcome back to our TCAP commentary. Today we're gonna watch Golf Cart Matt. Now, today it isn't a traditional TCAP video. We're gonna watch a partial episode from the Takedown with Chris Hansen series, and we're doing this mainly because we want to know who Golf Cart Matt, aka Matt Daly, is before we actually hop into watching his police interrogation, which I heard was really good by one person, so don't take that as gospel. But yeah, so we did one for Golf Cart, not Golf Cart Matt, Glory Hole Jerry, where we watched his partial segment. We read his TCAP wiki, and then we watched his interrogation. Now that we kind of knew what he was about, so we're gonna do the same thing for Matt, just to be caught up. Anyway, if you like TCAP, check out the channel. I have so many videos like this, of course, and like and subscribe, I guess, before you even watch the video. But anyway, let's continue. Let's start, I guess I should be saying.
On this episode of Takedown,
This guy's getting mad, like he wants to be here. Because he's asked for it like 5 times.
Taser.
He's there.
I need you to sit right over there.
I know who you are, but I'm not here for whatever it is.
So then you can tell me about it, but you gotta go now.
Oh. Classic. They always take him down, right? Dare I say, for the takedown thing. But yeah. So for some reason, Golf Cart Matt and Glory Hole Jerry, right? Jerry and Matt are almost put together in Takedown for some reason. I'm pretty sure these two released at the same time, and if not, they mention each other, or at least Jerry mentions Golf Cart Matt in his police interrogation, and towards Chris, I believe. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I believe they were put underneath the same video, but I don't know.
The Monroe County. In 2021, the Monroe County, Michigan Sheriff's Office unveiled V.I.P.E.R, the Violent Internet Predator and Exploitation Response Team, to combat sexual predators and human trafficking. With a population of 150,000, it's not just the community of Monroe where child predators are lurking. The neighboring metro of Toledo, Ohio is literally just steps away. Monroe County Sheriff Troy Goodenough assembled the strike team from his office, the Monroe Police Department, and the Michigan State Police, a trifecta for catching and taking down predators.
We want people to know, don't come to Monroe County and prey on our citizens, or we're going to be there.
I'm embedded with the V.I.P.E.R team.
Yeah. It is very awesome always to see that the police take action towards these type of things. Especially since I'm a TCAP fan, and I'm assuming you're also a TCAP fan in some capacity. Hearing the police kind of continuing this type of work is always good to hear. You know what I mean? It makes me excited. Of course, I don't think they broadcast any of it online or anything, but maybe there's a way you can get police interrogations out of some of these investigations, which I think it is possible. I'll look into maybe doing that someday. But as of now, we're just following Chris along with this.
Team and their latest sting to capture child predators. At the helm of the operation is Sergeant Mike Predmore. The chatters have been busy, as there seems to be no shortage of men looking for underage prey. While the operations and work of V.I.P.E.R are dangerous and disturbing, the reason behind doing this work is what motivates them.
So much of law enforcement is.
All right, we're going to get Chris Hansen talking with, I assume, the team. But hearing that there is no shortage of men, wanting to do things like this is always something really surreal, because as someone who's online, of course, it's very hard to believe. Not like I'm saying it's not real, but it's hard for me to, I guess, imagine that, somewhere on the internet, right, maybe on the same, social media app I'm on, there are grown men trying to talk to minors online, which is scary. It's surreal. Because it's you're telling me that maybe they just started and they already have people that are willing to travel and talk to these decoys in that way. Very surprising. You know what I mean? You would always think that it would be a small, a very small percentage of a population. But they all seem to be at the ready at in some website wherever they're at, and doing an investigation. It just seems like they're always ready to talk to someone like this, and it's really scary.
Reason behind doing this work is what motivates them.
So much of law enforcement is responding to the report of a crime and dealing with the victim, and this is a chance, I would imagine, for you guys to get out in front of it when you can.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely it's something that we take pride in because it's, like you said, it's proactive. We're out there getting these guys off before they are doing this to children, and we don't know about it. So we're trying to prevent it before we just answer that 911 call saying, hey, this already happened. We're trying to get out in front of it. So it's good. It's a good way to be involved in the community and try to keep it safe.
A V.I.P.E.R.
Yeah, very well spoken by the police officer, because they definitely made a good point to say that they're getting in front of these crimes before it happens. Most of these times these predators get caught after it happens, after a child is scarred or whatever, or hurt. And it would be so much better if they took down these guys before anything happened with an actual child, which is what is happening. And it is a very good explanation to give their team of what they're doing. They're trying to prevent crimes before they happen. And for police, it always is kind of the other way around. It's like responding to something that has already happened. And it's just nice to see that they're taking initiative into preventing these sex crimes. So yeah.
Chatter has a predator wanting to meet.
This guy's getting mad, like
This
he
guy's
wants
really
to be
good.
here.
He tells me about the sexually suggestive text.
Did he give you the Matt? Said he wants to come over, sit with me, rub my back, and be kind to me like my baby. I asked what he wants to do. He said I could really use a massage. I'll give you 1, 2 if you'd like, then really want to make out and kiss you and suck my neck, my nips, and a good BJ from you, and I want that ass.
The sting house is set up and
Tough. Whoever this guy is that's working as one of the decoys, we've seen him before. Funny enough, it's for the Glory Hole Jerry one, where he was the decoy and he was also the one messaging Glory Hole Jerry. It's hard to keep the names apart. But yeah, this guy, he's really good. He's the decoy. I assume is part of V.I.P.E.R. in some way, and he's also one of the decoys. But it's tough to hear what Matt was saying in the chats. Very common messages from these guys. We didn't get actual literal messages, the actual text messages on screen or anything, or read out in like fully, but we got a overhead of what they want, right? What Matt wants with the decoy, right? He wants to massage the decoy. He wants to visit. He's very eager to visit, and just paints a good picture to understand how eager Matt is. And let's see the contrast between his messages and then him being at the home. Keep in mind, this is a partial episode, so I don't think we'll have the interaction with Chris, but we will be able to see what happened during the confrontation through TCAP Wiki. So we'll at least find out what happened, but we won't be able to see it, which is sad to say, but I'm sure you are aware Takedown with Chris Hansen is a members only thing, and these are kind of more promotional bits that they do. But it is just nice to see the video anyway. A lot of people probably don't know who Golf Cart Matt is. You know what I mean? Takedown with Chris Hansen has kind of gone under the radar, so
ready to go. The V.I.P.E.R. team is in place and ready for the takedown. In all my years of doing predator stings, I've never seen a suspect make an entrance like this. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. This predator lives so close that he has just rolled up on a custom neon green golf cart. This is Matt, and he lives in the same neighborhood, actually just a few doors down from our sting operation, bringing new meaning to the devil next door. Unbelievably, he's in no apparent hurry to sneak inside and meet with a 14-year-old boy. he actually stops and takes a few moments to chat with fellow neighbors.
Anyway, I'll holler at you. All right, for sure, Bubba. Later.
Now that the neighborly social time is over, Matt is ready to meet the 14-year-old boy he's been chatting with online.
That is so jarring because we've seen people that have been really close to the decoys before. Maybe they lived in the same neighborhood. Just maybe like a couple of streets away. But to think that this guy is that close, he lives just only a couple of doors down the neighborhood. Scary. It's so scary how he also is so nonchalant about being here. He is very carefree because he is known in the neighborhood, right? People must know who he is. A callback to Jerry Hetherington, right? Glory Hole Jerry. He mentions how he's seen Golf Cart Matt, around the neighborhood and being around while kids were out on their bikes, which is really concerning. But yeah, just the social interaction he had right now with his neighbor, right? Or a neighbor, since they're, it's the neighborhood. Scary. That neighbor probably had no clue what he was up to. He probably thought it was just a normal day where, Matt was just doing his normal things. But nope, he's coming over to meet a minor for very immoral purposes. And let's see how he approaches the house and all that stuff, because, that's what we're here for.
But not before he grabs his travel cooler of beer and his cell phone. He's even so brazen with his illicit rendezvous that he's wearing his house slippers. But he won't be so comfortable when he's taken down by me and the V.I.P.E.R strike team.
7:07 p.m.
Coming. Let me get my charger real quick.
Hey, Matt. Gonna need you to sit over that stool right over there. Dude, please.
Please, I cannot do this right now, dude.
I need you to sit right over there.
I know who you are, but I'm not here for whatever it is.
Well, then you can tell me about it, but you gotta go now. Dude.
I can't. I know what's going on outside. They're already here.
Who's here?
Is anybody here?
Who?
I'm just gonna leave, please.
You can't.
I have to, sir.
You-
Sir,
no.
I have to. Sir,
I'm
I
Chris
have to.
Hansen.
I know who you are, sir. I have
So
to.
how do you know who I am?
Because of.
Oh, they're already playing the promotional things, right? And like the music's playing, but it is very interesting to see that Golf Cart Matt knew who Chris Hansen was. I believe Jerry did as well, but we didn't get this deep into his interaction. We only got to see him kind of, go near the door. So for Jerry, I'm not sure, but I think so. For Matt, he definitely knows who Chris Hansen is. It is extremely surprising. I guess to me, this is just like a personal thing, that Chris Hansen is being recognized more right now than ever. Because back then when HVP came about, right, Hansen versus Predator, he wasn't recognized all that much. He was recognized, I think, twice. I think he was recognized twice, yes. I know that, almost like half of him got recognized, or recognized Chris. But I don't know, seeing that all these guys recognize him is very good to hear, that he is still around in people's minds to think like, hey, Chris Hansen is the Predator catcher, and maybe it's a deterrence, or maybe in this sense it's not, because Matt knows who he is and he still showed up anyway. But yeah.
Seen you on TV before.
Well, what are you doing here? Matt, you're here for a boy.
No. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Sorry, I was drinking something. Yeah, they take him down. Funny enough, because it's Takedown with Chris Hansen. But anyway, we'll go towards his TCAP wiki. This one is kind of long. It is really long, but this is mainly why you're here. We're gonna read out. Hold on, the wires are kind of messing with me right now. I'm so sorry. I hope the things, because the okay, hold on. I'm so sorry. The mic is shaking a lot. Hopefully you can't hear it, but anyway. So right now we have Matt Daly. Matthew Allen Matt Daly is a suspected predator caught in the Monroe, Michigan sting on Takedown with Chris Hansen. He is infamous for showing up to the sting house in a golf cart and house slippers, as well as his neurotic and obnoxious attitude after being arrested and confronted by Chris Hansen. His aliases is Matt, as well as golf cart Matt, and he has relatives, Rose, his mother. He has kids, apparently. I had no clue. I didn't think he would. He has a pet dog, and Justin, which is a supervisor of his. He's single, he's male, and then his hair color is brown. But onto the sting. The Monroe County, Michigan Sheriff's Office, a Violent Internet Predators and Exploitation Response, also known as V.I.P.E.R, the V.I.P.E.R team, was conducting a sting to expose child predators living within Monroe County. Through Grindr, Matt initiated contact with a decoy posing as a 14-year-old boy named Travis. Although his chat was brief, it was graphic, with Matthew saying he wanted to suck the decoy's neck as well as receive a back rub and oral sex from him. He referred to the decoy as his baby, as well as saying he wanted that ass, what perverted justice would call a fast mover. Matt became impatient and demanded the decoy's address 5 times, eventually receiving it once the sting house was fully set up. Matt lived so close and was so relaxed about the situation that he rolled up to the sting house in his custom neon green golf cart, wearing his cap, sunglasses, shorts, and house slippers. He didn't even try to sneak inside, instead taking a moment to speak with some nearby neighbors of his. He then grabbed his cell phone and backpack before approaching the sting house, where he was greeted by an on-site decoy. The decoy immediately left the room, claiming that he had to grab his charger from the other room. After Matt took a seat in one of the armchairs, Chris Hansen walked out and instructed Matt to sit on the stool at the kitchen island. Matt refused, claiming he knew who Chris was and that he cannot afford to do this right now. Matt attempted to leave the sting house after inquiring if the police were already outside, promptly being tackled to the ground and handcuffed by V.I.P.E.R. They requested the passcode to his cell phone, which Matt refused, claiming he needed his lawyer for that. As Chris tried to question Matt while he was still on the ground using the graphic lines from his chat log, the police searched him. They eventually stood him up, with Matt wanting to know if he was being detained. The V.I.P.E.R units explained he was under arrest, not detained, with Matt asking not to be filmed. When Chris told Matt that he didn't have a choice, Matt asserted that he did, not understanding that he gave up his taping rights by committing a felony. Matt trying to argue his way out of being filmed resulted in Chris sarcastically asking if he was a lawyer, which Matt denied. He acknowledged Chris was an intelligent man, but he didn't want to talk or be taped. Matt then asserted that he asked the decoy if he was the police department and said he told the decoy that he just wanted to hang out, acknowledging that it was just a website where people met, not coming for anything illegal. He then denied ever previously chatting with underage teens online. When Chris attempted to ask Matt more questions, he interrupted by telling Chris he had seen his shows before. Although he had previously made it clear he had no interest in talking, Matt quickly contradicted himself by going on a ramble about how he wasn't there for sex despite what the chat log said, once again saying he didn't want to be filmed. He reiterated his hangout excuse, saying that he had work in the morning and was planning on going to bed after hanging out and leaving the sting house for an hour or so. He refused to reveal where he worked. However, fearing he would get fired, he then tried to get pity points, saying that he had nothing except his job and all his relatives except his mother, who he took care of for the best he could. He further went on saying that if he lost his job, he would lose everything because he wouldn't be able to take care of his dog or keep his house. Chris said he understood, but it still didn't excuse meeting a child online for sex, as well as acknowledging in a post-production voice over the Matt only had his own actions to blame on his mother and dog fending for themselves. Matt went on, agreeing with Chris before immediately going on another ramble about how he didn't know what was even going on. Being freaked out by the whole situation, Chris tried to explain that Matt had been caught trying to have sex with a 14-year-old boy on an app that Matt kept referring to as a legal app, then claiming that he didn't see the boy's age on the profile despite admitting knowing he was 14 moments earlier. Chris made it clear how many times he had heard that, with Matt going on to compliment Chris's work and podcast appearances, but still apparently not knowing what was going on. He then asked one of the units to readjust his glasses, which he mistook for Matt asking him to remove his sunglasses. After the misunderstanding, the officer put Matt's glasses back on his face. Matt went on to claim he had done nothing wrong, simply attempting to meet someone through the legal app without coming over specifically for sex. He went on to try to refute the evidence by claiming that they couldn't prove the texts were from him, which Chris very promptly brushed it off as nonsense, given that they had all the proof they needed that the text came from Matt's profile and cell phone. Chris then ridiculed Matt for walking in like he owned the place while reeking of weed, which Matt tried to brush off by stating marijuana was legal in this county, apparently not understanding Chris's implication that someone under the influence could be dangerous than someone who isn't. Matt asked the sheriff one last time not to be filmed before reiterating he only came to hang out. After further explaining the pity party by saying he had nothing except his bag, which had 2 beers and marijuana in it that he denied intending to share with a minor, his cell phone, his job, which he would be in trouble for calling in saying he wouldn't come in after being arrested for a sex crime, and his house. He tried a new excuse, claiming that he thought the decoy was joking because people lie about their ages all the time, indirectly admitting that previous young people he had spoken to and possibly meet up with turned out to be anywhere from 21 to 25 years old. Chris once again refuted Matt's lies and excuses, reiterating the decoy clearly told him that he was 14, as well as once again acknowledging Matt's interest in a good BJ. Now we go on to the interrogation part of his investigation. In the interrogation room, Matt retained his neurotic and circle-talking attitude, presumably to prolong his punishment for as long as possible. He initially tried to speak to the detective while he also refused to sign away his rights to remain silent. Going on about how Chris Hansen was unable to prove that the beer and drugs weren't just for him, as well as claiming all he knew was that he entered the house and wound up on the floor. The detective constantly tried to remind Matt that they couldn't talk unless Matt either requested a lawyer or signed away his rights. Even though Matt seemed to have a basic understanding that it would be in his best interest to remain silent and wait for a lawyer, he ultimately decided to relent and waived his rights to remain silent, but still bemoaned how the detective should give him advice and that he didn't want to be filmed. When the detective somehow managed to explain to Matt that he was only being filmed for safety and evidential purposes, Matt calmed down a little, but still spoke in a fast-paced circles, claiming he told his mother he was only going to be gone for an hour. Matt went on to explain that he had been told about Grindr by other people, who sold it to him as an app to meet people. Matt went on to defend himself with his excuse that he was just there to hang out, not even remembering how long he was speaking to Travis before showing up to the Sting house. He claimed he couldn't show the detective any evidence of his text because his messages were erased immediately, before going on to say that he deletes accounts immediately after he's done using them, as to not associate with the person or situation anymore. Although his admission had disturbing undertones, he claimed he did it with everyone, deleting texts from his own mother and Facebook friends due to buildup of storage in his phone. He continued to use his legal app excuse, claiming he was told on the thing on the app and another thing in text, and that the decoy was playing with his head. The detective read from Matt's chat logs, with Matt calling it regular stuff. When confronted with the direct admission the decoy made to being underage, Matt reiterated that he didn't want to say anything about being attracted to children and that he just wanted to hang out after finding out the age of the decoy. Failing to understand that he still decided to show up even after finding out the age of the decoy, regardless of the order of the chat log's sexual remarks. Matt went on to defend himself, claiming that Chris Hansen knew nothing about him and was making assumptions based on his chat. The detective inquired as to whether Matt had intended on doing anything violent, like assaulting or abducting the decoy, which Matt denied, as well as once again denying bringing alcohol and drugs for the child, claiming it was only for him. He continued to talk in circles once again, using his waking up early for work excuse, the excuse that the decoy was in close proximity and the app was for legal adults only, having no interest in children because he had children from a previous relationship himself. He became slightly aggressive when claiming that on the site decoy was at least in his 30s, which he claimed that is what he was expecting to see after talking to a minor. Matt called himself a normal guy, but immediately pleaded his Fifth Amendment right to not answer questions in regards as to why he asked if the person he was speaking to was a cop. The detective once again told Matt that they didn't have to talk, but Matt made it clear he didn't mind continuing to speak to the detective. Matt went on to explain that Matt went on to explain that people on Grindr had previously asked him if he was a cop, with the detective pointing out that Matt earlier claimed today was his first time using the app. Although Matt basically hanged himself, he tried to defend himself by saying that 3 men just on that day and asked him if he was a cop, not understanding that the claim made no sense. Matt then tried to use the decoy's bad grammar, as if the decoy was referring to an address, which the detective immediately disputed by pointing out Matt had previously claimed he didn't remember part of the conversation at all. Matt continued to talk in circles, using the same excuses he already used several times beforehand. He eventually asked if he could contact his mother to let her know he had been arrested, being told he could do so when he was taken to jail. He then requested the detective not to tell her anything other than Matt was in trouble and to go to his house to look after the dog. Still not fully understanding how the law works, Matt once again claimed he did nothing wrong and asked if he was going to be released after seeing the judge, which the detective told him he didn't know, with said decision being up to the judge. Matt admitted to being in trouble before, such as selling marijuana and being in the crack house, but never before in a sex crime. He said he was a tax-paying citizen who did nothing wrong, as well as once again claiming he had no intent to engage in sex with the minor. He gave his work address, claiming that he was worried about being fired because someone had been fired after being arrested months ago, and he promised his employers that he wasn't like that. He then asked the detective to call his mother to ask her to call his work and tell them he wasn't feeling well, which the detective obliged to. After being left alone for a moment, Matt got up and knocked on the interrogation room door, asking "excuse me." Eventually the detective returned, with Matt asking the detective if he could call the number he gave for his mother immediately to make sure if it was the right one. Matt's request was denied, with him subsequently being put in handcuffs and taken to jail. Matt was charged with 3 felonies: child abuse commercial activity, using a computer to commit a crime, and accosting child for immoral purposes. Following Matt's bust, Jerry Hetherington, another suspect caught moments after Matt left the sting house, claimed that he knew of Matt and as well as others in the neighborhood as people who engaged in predatory behavior, but denied ever directly engaging with Matt beyond a passing greeting when walking around the neighborhood. Following their arrest, however, the two became cellmates, although it is unknown if they continually interacted during their incarceration. Matt's court date was December 8, 2022. However, there is currently no public information on what became of Matt after his court hearing. It is currently unknown if he was held accountable for his 3 felonies. And now we have some trivia. A year prior to the sting, Matt had a YouTube channel known as End Time Watchman 8701, where he is known to have hosted live streams predicting the end of the world. He apparently had some level of support on the platform, thanking his viewers for watching and liking his videos. His channel was deleted after the sting, either by YouTube or by Matt himself. Despite this, Matt is still active on YouTube via End Time Watchman archive channel. Of the Takedown Predators, Matt's uncut police interrogation is one of only 2 to be fully accessible online, alongside the interrogation of his stingmate, Jerry Hetherington. So yeah, that'll be it for Golf Cart Matt. I had a very difficult time reading at the end. It's kind of hot here, so... But the next video of Golf Cart Matt that we'll see will be his police interrogation, and I will be excited for that. We'll see what becomes of it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Like the video, please. It really helps out. Subscribe if you really like the commentary, and you like to catch a predator, right? Join the gang. I'm slowly losing myself, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I'll let you go, and goodbye.